if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Philipp von Holtzendorff-Fehling. He's ranked #1 in U.S. in tennis for men 50 plus.
100% helped me a whole lot. We developed the technology that can imprint pure quantum energy into any object. A 55 to 85% reduction in allergy and stress response of the human body when you charge foods. Almost 50 to 100% acceleration in wound healing. This guy that had knee pain for 6 years, and he put his knee into the infinity block for 10 minutes, and then his knee pain went away.
Forever?
It's gone.
Wow.
Everyone that says EMFs do not have a negative effect on health is either lying. That's just the truth. Take care of your biofield, because if you don't, you're really missing out.
The founder and CEO of Lila Quantum Tech. He's also a conscious entrepreneur.
Philipp's journey started with a corporate career as a vice president at T-Mobile.
So we'll definitely be talking about how quantum energy has helped him reach the top of his game, both on and off the court. Philipp, so nice to see you here in my studio in Hollywood. Thank you so much for coming. And I know Lila Quantum Technology for a while. Myself, I'm wearing a necklace and I'm ready to get one of your blocks as well. But before I wanted to get a block, I wanted to talk to you personally and see which one is the right one to start with or to have in my house. We'll talk all about that. But also, I know you as well just from last year. We met at conferences. I always see you speaking on stage. Love when you speak. You have such an energy and just like debunking what energy is all about and why it's really important. So today we're going to be uncovering really interesting information and going back to energy and healing and shamanic work. My lineage also very strong from my mother's side. All the females in the long way, they're all healers, very strong healers. And actually my dad was a very powerful bioenergetic healer as well. He healed people with his hands. He did an amazing work, but not professionally, more like as a hobby, because back in the days, it was not accepted. It was like a woo-woo and people really didn't take it seriously. He was an engineer. But that didn't make him happy. So, and now it's a different world. People understand more and more what energy is all and why it's so important in our daily lives. Not just energy that we think it's some kind of energy, but actually implementing and the technologies like yours. Now we can wear necklaces to protect our energy fields, expand our chakras and beyond, and also using these technologies in our house to protect ourselves from EMF, mitigate EMF in the house, also charge water, food, clothes, whatever you want, and also dogs, pets. I see we have lovely one of your pet here in the studio, and I asked you, I was like, how old is she? You like 14 or 11, right?
11, yes.
And I was like, wow, she looked like 5-6-year-old puppy. And you were like, well, we are using all our technologies or vitamins, red light therapies, and beyond to really keep ourselves to live longer. So let's dive in. And I know your background is incredible. You come from the corporate world. You worked for T-Mobile company running and managing 14 countries globally. And so that corporate world was really demanding. You were not in the energy field. You didn't really believe what energy is all about. You were like strictly kind of like straight to business, straight to work. And so I wanted to ask you, what really transitioned you from that heavy corporate world, working for T-Mobile, into this beautiful quantum technology and doing something totally different?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. And actually, when I was at T-Mobile, I already worked with energy a lot. I was very much aware of consciousness and how energy works, because in the early 2000s, I got into that because I had noticed I was cut off my own feelings and emotions, and I didn't access my intuition anymore. I would discredit it in others. And then I got on this path with meditation and yoga, and I got trained in various healing techniques, shamanic practices, past life regression work, all of that I learned. And I always wanted to find the next best healer. And I did that, but it was in parallel to this corporate career, right? And then in the corporate career, like you said, these things were at the time and still even today in corporate not really accepted. And so I just kept it private. And in 2016, I couldn't do this stretch anymore, right? The stretch of knowing what I know, being what I am, and fulfilling this role in corporate just wasn't possible anymore. And I had to really live from the heart and create from the heart. And that was the moment in 2016 for me to get out of corporate and then choose to do what is my calling. And that was really in biohacking and bioenergy hacking. And ultimately, it led to the founding of Lila Quantum Tech and Quantum Upgrade.
Was it scary to leave your main job and your main source of income to do something that you don't know if it's going to work or not? How did you feel about that? Of course, you went with your intuition, but how did you feel because you had a family to support and your lifestyle?
Yeah, it felt amazing, to be honest. And I think some parts of me were also scared because, again, you're supporting a family and all of that. And now the security is gone. But overwhelmingly, it felt amazing, actually, to be able to start creating really what I want to do and not, working for someone else for just some stuff,
And you went on an interesting journey, going around the world, meeting the best shaman, meeting the best healers, learning from them, acquiring this information. Can you dive into that a little bit? And also, I know your wife, she's incredible energy reader. She can read people, like you said, like no one else out there. So, and she's a big part of this company as well.
Ex-wife.
Oh, ex-wife.
Ex-wife,
sorry.
yes. No, that's okay. Not everyone knows that. Well, we separated 14 months ago.
Oh, see, I didn't know
we're still
that.
great friends,
Okay.
and that's why you also still see her. We get along well, so we're not, fighting or anything. But it's a new chapter now. And so the healing aspect, I really got into the early 2000s in it. And at first I was so skeptical. I was so rational, and I didn't believe that was possible. But then I noticed the changes within me, and after a powerful session, I would just notice how much more connected I felt and how blockages would go away. And obviously over the years, then I learned how to do that myself and notice how I could help people. And then I also noticed when I worked like that, and that's still like that today. Like I love working one-on-one with people, even though I don't have the time, so I rarely ever do it. But when I do it, I feel so connected afterwards because it really, I'm connecting with source, and then I do the work, and it's just so rewarding on an energetic level to do that. And, then I met someone like Roman Hafner, for example, who was born with the ability to see each and every frequency on a granular level. And that's like all completely next level because he can see things that are, that can't really be seen by the vast majority of people. And the same with Crew. She works on a different level than Roman. He's way more granular. And, if there's physical issues, for example, like he'd be the perfect one to tell you exactly, okay, so you have this nerve here in the back that's pinched, and he can move the energy so that it's unpinched, and all these amazing things. Or I don't know, you have a rupture in the spleen, and he can he can tell you and what to do and all of that. And Crew rather sees the root cause of problems that come up in your life and how to solve it at the root so that you don't develop these things anymore in the future. And so obviously also through her, because she was born also with this ability, when I met her, it catapulted my worldview to the next level in regards to that, because all of my skepticism that I still had on some level went away completely. And that was pretty much it, right?
Right, beautiful. Like my dad did that healing, bioenergetic healing. He worked as, and are they still part of Lila Quantum? Are they still
so
using
with
the
Roman,
energy?
I mean, I have meetings with him every week, and Cruz also still helping with frequencies and yeah.
Yeah. So can you share one of the biggest personal challenges or low points you faced during this transition period? What kept you going through that difficult and what did you learn from it?
Well, I think the most difficult part was that initially I didn't really find exactly what was my long-term thing, my real calling, right? I think it felt like a calling. So we opened an organic vegetarian restaurant called Mama Gaia, which was amazing. And people hugged us for what we did.
I love the name, Mama Gaia.
Yeah, Mother Earth, exactly. Yeah, and we had great food also.
Oh.
But it wasn't really successful, and because we opened it in Memphis, which I think we sparked, we set a spark maybe there in Memphis for that type of food.
That's interesting. Why in Memphis?
Because that's where we lived at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, we should have probably done it in LA, and then it would be a global chain. But of course, nothing ever happens by accident, right? I'm actually really glad it went exactly the way it went, because it was a success, but in a not financially, it wasn't a success, but it was a success because we were able to touch people in a different way and maybe open their minds a little bit. And it was a great experience also. And from there, really, the next level came. And then it suddenly all came together. So I'm really glad, because I wouldn't want to be in the situation right now running a global restaurant chain. It's really not what is
your intention or your goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Your purpose in life.
So I'm really happy with how it all went.
That is so cool. When you first started working with energy, did you have any expectations or doubts of how it's going to work out?
Well, yeah, at the time in the early 2000s, I definitely had doubts, and those came, over many years, they came back. And then also, when you just get into it and you're not born with this ability, you need to develop that, and you arrive at points in between where you don't see it all, you don't get it all, and then naturally the ego comes back with questions and with doubts, and also tries to steer you the other way, right? Because it's sometimes the ego doesn't want to be put to the passenger seat. The ego likes to be in the driver's seat, and that's part of the journey, right? That it's great to have the ego, but it's good to have not the ego run your life, and that's a process, and the ego doesn't like that, right? And then at first we can't distinguish between what's the ego and what's really my higher self expressing itself through my inner voice. And nowadays that's totally clear to me, right?
But you still went with your intuition. You still listen to your gut feeling, and you're like, yes, my intuition, my higher self's calling me that. For someone new to Lila Quantum Tech, can you walk us through your products and how they work? What is happening energetically?
Yeah, so we developed the technology that can imprint pure quantum energy into any object, and we can combine it with specific frequencies. So that's what we developed. And it's not that we developed the quantum field. We didn't develop source energy because that's always been here. That will always be here. It's very important, not that people get that wrong. We figured out a way on how to access that and super concentrate and harness the field and make it available, for example, in an infinity block that people that can watch this here right now see in front of us.
We're charging waters here.
Yes, and so think of, in this specific case, you have plates on the top and plates on the bottom. And you know how it works with magnets, right? So if you have a magnet in the left hand and the right hand, at some point you feel a magnetic force field, whether that's attracting or it's like shooting itself away, you feel the force field. It's no different. It's the same principle. It's just not a magnetic force field. It's a quantum force field. But you need to have these lines so that you have that force field. As soon as I deassemble this, you don't have the field anymore.
Did you take a while to understand how to, like, let's say 3 plates on the top, 3 plates on the bottom? And what is it made from? Is it special material, the metal that has to be special metal, or Can you explain
Yeah,
it?
so we could make it pretty much with any metal, but not every metal works great. Let's say it that way. It has to be metal because metal can hold and transmit the energy really well. Brass, for example, works really great with a capsule. It doesn't work well in blocks
And
for
what is in a
whatever reason.
block?
The block is golden sanitized and anodized and sandblasted aluminum. And it is very amazing for holding the energy and transmitting the energy. At the same time, it's not too heavy, so you can ship it. And it's also not too expensive, so that you can actually also provide it. Because gold, for example, would probably be the best carrier for this.
But it's too heavy.
I mean, if I had this in gold, I don't know who would buy it.
It's true. It
Maybe
would be
Brian
like-
Johnson would buy it, but
That's
then
true.
we couldn't have.
Maybe he should order in gold.
Exactly, yeah. I think in gold this would be absolutely phenomenal. But again, it's too expensive for
Yeah.
us to have like multiple blocks.
Maybe more like custom made.
Yeah.
And I love your logo. It's beautiful. How did you create that?
Yeah, so we actually work with a clairvoyant artist together that creates these mandalas, right? And so for us, this mandala represents love, peace, and unity all in one. And then we have these specific frequency. I think we have 30 different frequencies by now that we provide. And for each frequency, we get a specific mandala created by her, by this artist. So that it matches the frequency. And then on each frequency card on one side, you also see the
Yeah.
mandala.
Oh, yes. You're talking about those cards. I have 3 of them, and I buy them as a gift as well to my friends. And I carry them in my purse and my wallet all the time. And sometimes I feel very powerful connection when I actually next to me. Like, let's say prosperity. I'm keeping it on my table in my office next to me, and suddenly work starts come in, the clients and this. It's just like, woo, the energy, right? And detoxification, an example, I keep it next to myself. Not every day, but like when I need it, I'll but I always have it in my bag. So it's I love those. So I didn't know that actually that's how it works. You're creating those mandala and that transmutes the energy.
No, it's actually, that's not how it works. The energy we put into the cards with our technology, but then we create a mandala that matches that frequency.
Oh, got it.
So that
Okay.
it's just an addition, basically. It's just,
beautiful.
if people look at it, they already see it through their eyes. That's pretty much how it
Yeah.
works. It's not
Makes
that the
sense.
mandala actually transmits the energy. It's just an additional layer of it. Yeah.
Interesting. But how, like the card, do you infuse with certain energy? Because some people asking me, how does this thing, where the energy is, like what is that is in this card?
Yeah, so we create the frequency, and with our technology, we're able to imprint it and infuse it into a metal carrier or into any other carrier.
And it stays for a long time. You don't have to recharge it.
forever, pretty
Forever,
much, until
wow.
you break the material.
All
or,
of your products.
Yeah,
For-
I don't know. When we're at 12G, I don't know what happens then, because
Right. I hope we don't get there.
yeah, well, thankfully we're also improving our capabilities.
Right,
So
that's true. So you have different blocks. This is one is the Infinity or Super Block.
Infinity block.
There is a
Infinity.
bigger one, the Super Block.
yes.
Which is bigger. Then Lila Grand Block, Travel Car Block, and Quantum Block.
Yes.
So what is the difference between them, and how would someone know which one to buy or
Yeah.
which one to start with?
So the quantum block is the only one I'll need to separate a little bit, because that's our weakest block.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for people that want to have a high energy field, that want to have an specifically high impact on the physical body and all of that, because it is specifically designed to copy frequencies into other objects, for example, or to make frequency medicine, because people can, like you do homeopathy, right? You can use a quantum block to copy a frequency into water, into salt, into a metal carrier. That's what you use it for. And that's the best block for that. So if you're into that type of stuff, get the quantum block. And then most people that have a quantum block for these things, they get another block to really have a really high energy field in their home. And all of those other ones you mentioned, they're pretty strong. They have a very good capability to to help improve your blood. And by the way, we'll get into the science, of course. Bear with us. It's not only magic; it's also science. And the travel block is, doesn't have such a large field. It's way smaller, but it's meant to be for traveling. Really, you can easily put it in your purse. I mean, if it's a very small purse, you may have to deassemble it, but you can travel with it. You can put it in your car. You can take it in a restaurant. Then the infinity block, obviously, you see that. You can put glasses in there and things like that. You can put your hands in there, your feet when you lay on the sofa.
Oh, wow.
People with arthritis do that on a regular basis, for example. And then the super block, that was created because the community, we have a community of thousands of people, and they're very, very active. And sometimes they're like, we would love this type of product. And then people kept asking. They wanted something for the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they can put plates inside and all that. So we created the grand block and the super block for that purpose. And then also people can put even their hips in there and their shoulders.
Like in the big one, then this.
Yeah,
super
and
block.
you can have full plates, your whole plate with food.
Yeah.
You can just put it in for a minute and then eat it. So that's why we created
Can you
the
put a
big
food
ones.
here in this block?
Yeah, you can, but it's not. There's no space for a big
That's smaller
plate.
plates.
Yeah, small
I mean,
plates.
like in
exactly.
America, we eat big plates.
Yeah.
But I mean, we shouldn't be eating so much food. So I eat smaller plates. So for me, maybe I will just put a plate. Or for kids. I mean, kids, I usually make my daughter this enough space at plates. So
Yeah.
that would be great. Or dogs.
Exactly, dogs, cats.
Dogs.
Yeah.
So all you have to do 1 minute charging for food.
It depends on which block it is. So for a 1 minute charge, you already get a really nice effect. If you have food sensitivities, I mean, we kind of don't recommend to do that, but I mean, people do that, and there's a lot of evidence that's pointing towards a 55 to 85% reduction in allergy and stress response of the human body when you charge foods in the blocks. There, we suggest 3 minutes minimum in the infinity block or super block. Yeah.
Okay. And the water is the same?
Water the same. 1 minute gives you a really nice charge. I mean, in the super block, 1 minute is great, and 1.5 minutes, that's what I would do. And it actually mimics the deuterium depleted water effect as well. That is only with the super block, though.
Oh, super block. Okay. But this one, we're not talking about, it's, you still have to use filtered quality water.
Yes, don't take Mississippi River water and put it in because it doesn't filter out bacteria and dirt.
Yes. And also supplements.
Yeah, you can charge your supplements for sure.
What would it do
upgrade
to the
them.
supplements? Just upgrade the
Enhance the bioavailability and the efficacy of
Because
it.
I know I've heard, and we travel a lot, and we bring a lot of supplements with us. And when they go through the security, the X-rays, they lose the certain, how would they say, potency. Is that true?
I have not heard that, but I would not be surprised, actually.
I know from the healers who work in that
Yeah.
quantum energy, and they test the supplements before and after, and they see the drop in the potency when the vitamins go through. So that would be something cool. Travel block, do you think, can I charge with travel block my supplements while I'm traveling right after when I get to the hotel?
Yes, you can do that, and you could also do it beforehand, because once you charge the supplements, the X-rays won't be able to do anything with it. And for example, Ian Mitchell with his Wizard Sciences, he just came out with a new line of vitamins, and they're all quantum charged with our technology.
Wizard, which one?
Wizard Sciences.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got to check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are starting to use our tech, whether it's cosmetics or it's supplements or jewelry even, where they use
What
our
would jewelry
technology.
would do? Take the energy that you've carried throughout the day and kind of recharge?
It's huge. It's huge with jewelry, because if you have a Rolex watch, for example, that's golden. Let's just assume that. Of course, it's an amazing piece and all of that. But once you put it in the block, you increase the vibration of the gold, and it vibrates much higher. So people that cannot see energy, they'll be like, this is more beautiful. But if you can see energy, you see the vibration. It's upgraded. So all of the jewelry basically is upgraded to a next level and is truly more beautiful because the energy just vibrates much higher.
I'm sold, and I'm sure every girl out there is sold too.
You can actually, so the funny thing is, even if you have like some jewelry that's not expensive and you put it in the block, it after that just feels as if it is more expensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so it's not on the travel block. It's one of the.
No, you could also use the travel block for that. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just very small.
Small,
so you can't put big things
too much
in.
things, but small little things. What about copying frequencies? How does someone actually do that, and what can you use it for? And what is a copying frequency? I still don't understand.
Yeah. So there are different frequencies. One is the molecular frequency that comes from a physical substance, because every substance has a vibration, like everything has a vibration. You have etheric frequencies that you can literally pull out of the ether. That's obviously for the random person not possible because they don't know how to do it. And then you have sound frequencies. You have all kinds of different frequencies. Now, a molecular frequency would be the ideal one for a Lila Quantum user, because you can take, let's say, frankincense or your favorite healing plant. Just take a piece of your favorite healing plant. You can put it inside the block, ideally the quantum block, but you could also do it with the infinity block and any other block. Put it inside with the target carrier. Let's say you want your favorite healing plant frequency in this water. Then you just need to put a piece of the healing plant inside the block together with the water. You wait about 30 seconds, and then the frequency is in the water, and then you drink it and you have it in the water. You could also take a coin, a silver coin, and put it in with your favorite healing plant, and then after 30 seconds, the vibration of that healing plant is in the silver coin, and if you put it in the pocket, it vibrates that very frequency.
That's
so
how
cool.
It
works.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Something new that I learned today. Very cool. Are there any items you should avoid putting into the blocks? And how often should you recharge something?
Yeah. That's a great question. So metals, you don't ever need to recharge because they hold the energy really, really well.
You mean like jewelry?
Yeah, jewelry, for example.
So just one time?
Yeah, one time is enough, and then it just keeps the charge.
For how long?
Yeah, pretty much, 300 years.
Wow.
Definitely at least a lifetime.
Interesting.
Even if we increase our lifespan, I think it'll be fine. And then the only thing with metals, that's the only thing that you shouldn't overcharge. So if you in the quantum block, it's no problem. You can leave them in as long as you want. But in any other block, we say roughly 2 to 3 minutes max cumulative. And why is that? Because once a metal is overcharged, its frequency can overspill or spill over to other objects that are near. I give you an example. If I have this here overcharged with this specific healing plant frequency, and then I put it next to my watch, right next to it, then this would spill over into my watch, which isn't a big problem, but you need to be aware of it.
Interesting, really cool. Can you you also have a capsule, and I see every biohacker, everyone at the conferences wears this. So now I know when someone wears Aura ring or this necklace, I know they're biohackers. I know they're like into the energy, into the scene.
Yeah.
So it's like, can we talk about its healing energy capsule necklace and how it compares to the blocks? When would someone use that instead? And why would someone also wear this on themselves? Yeah,
great question. So the necklace has specific frequencies included, or the capsule, we say. Like the block doesn't contain any specific frequencies. It's just a neutral quantum energy field, which is amazing. But then in the capsule, we have this nowadays, the Heal 360 capsule. That's our latest frequency.
Is it a bigger one? Or because there are different sizes as well.
There's a big one. Most men choose that one, but men also now choose the smaller one. Also, it just depends, whoever likes a larger one or a smaller one, doesn't matter. And then most women now choose the so-called petite version, and for kids as well, because it's not so heavy on the neck.
Yeah.
And it contains frequencies that activate the inner healer and sort of the self-healing powers on all levels. That means physical, energetic, emotional, and you can feel this. And it contains also a few vitamins and minerals that are good for the human body. So that vibrates in your field, and it literally helps you to get healthy quicker, basically, right? And to always be in this mode of a healing state. It reminds your body to be in this healing state. It also neutralizes the negative effects of EMFs, which the blocks obviously do in a very large radius, but for the wearer of this, it does that. It has a positive effect on the autonomic nervous system, positive effect on the blood. Yeah. And it's a nice little variable. I think it's like the entry. It's the all-rounder entry product to get into this and to feel, what does that do to me?
And that's what I see a lot of people. They first buy this and then they grow into it. Like myself, I first bought this and now I'm interviewing. Now I'm ready for this. Can we now dive deep into EMF? I know you're coming from that world as well. We all exposed, we want it or not, and there's huge talk about how bad it is for humans, for pets, for everyone. Can you explain EMF, first of all, why it's not potentially good for human beings, and how can Lila Quantum protect or mitigate in the house? And then is there certain blocks to certain square footage of mitigation, and as well the necklace, what would be the feet around yourself can mitigate from EMFs?
Yeah, so EMFs are electromagnetic fields, and we have native electromagnetic fields, for example, that come from the sun or also from the earth field. Those are usually beneficial. But then we have the so-called non-native EMFs. Those are electromagnetic fields from a TV, from 3G, 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, microwaves, etc. And those are not good for the human body, actually, on all levels. Short-term, mid-term, and long-term, the effects of these are negative and really harmful to human life and health. It's very clear. There's no doubt about that, frankly. And I know that the industry is downplaying that still. That will change at some point because the evidence is so overwhelming. And everyone that says EMFs do not have a negative effect on health is either lying completely or they're not informed or ignorant. That's just the truth, and it's easily debunked by any simple tests. You could look at the blood or HRV, for example, and very quickly, within 5 minutes already, you see significant changes of the blood. Brainwave testing, for example, you see literally within seconds negative impact, very negative impact on our brainwaves, if you look at that. And that's just the short-term effect, right? Long-term, it gets worse and worse. So, yeah, it's, I'm not in the camp of saying, let's tear down the 5G towers, because the technology is also amazing, right? It enables us to be connected and do cool things over distance that we couldn't do otherwise. But we should be aware of it and then mitigate it. And that's what our technology is made for, literally. While we do have EMF blocking clothing.
Yes, I saw that. And underwear too, for men and women. And how important is that?
Well, for some people that are very sensitive, I think it is important, especially when you're in an electric car or in an airplane. Or if you really want to protect your sensitive parts, I don't know, in regards to fertility, for example, or for man.
That's a big one too.
So that's where it comes in very handy. And the good thing is the clothing is done in fashion and it's really comfortable. So I actually spoke with 2 or 3 women yesterday that told me, wow, this is so comfortable. And I was so happy to hear, because the women underwear obviously is the only product I couldn't try myself. Yeah. And to hear that feedback is like, okay, it has a real use case, right? But then if it's also super comfortable,
Yeah, and it's made from cotton and infused with silver.
Yeah, it has a specific silver fabric that literally blocks over 99% of the electromagnetic fields. And on top of that, it's charged with our Heal 360 frequency. So it really has a double effect. We call it EMF plus.
That's amazing. And also for men too, you have
For men, we
shorts
have
there
that as
too.
well,
Yeah.
yes.
What else do you have? I think the little jacket or
Yes.
t-shirts.
We have T-shirts, then we have beanies.
Oh, beanies, yeah.
And we do have these jackets, and the jackets, they're top notch. I mean, they actually look and feel like a Montclair jacket,
Oh, that's
which is
cool.
1,200
Yeah.
bucks, and ours is way cheaper, but offers way more, right?
Interesting. And do you have any pet clothing?
We don't have pet
You should
clothing
have
yet,
cute
but we
little
do
pets.
have dog bowls at least, and dog
and collars, right? So
Yes.
how would the collar probably protect the dog from EMF too?
Yeah, we always make sure that there's a specific metal that we then charge, and it contains for dogs the so-called Heal for Dogs frequency, and for cats the Heal for Cats frequency, because that stimulates their own healing powers and contains some frequencies that are specifically good for dogs or for cats, because they're different from humans. Humans need different things than dogs and cats.
Well, now that we're talking about pets, I know you have a lot of products for pets, like supplements, which you're using amazing ESSC60 molecule.
Yeah.
What does it do if you give that particular supplement to dogs? And what else do you have for pets that we can use to upgrade our dogs?
Yeah,
or cats?
so at this one we don't have a C60 for dogs, because we used to have that, but right now we only have these capsules with black seed oil and a C60 and astaxanthin.
Ah, okay.
And it's also charged with our tech. So, but the capsules are not really, dogs couldn't consume those.
Okay.
But for that, you can go to any other C60 supplier and get
Yeah.
maybe the C60 olive oil.
Right. But what
and-
do you have for pets?
For
in it?
pets, we have dog collars, we have cat collars, we have dog bowls and cat bowls.
And what would be, because it's charging food
Yes, it's actually very important, because then you can upgrade the food
in the water too.
and the water as well, especially the water when it sits in this bowl, it gets infused with the heal frequency for
I'm
these
buying one today.
animals.
Do you have it at the show? We're actually here in LA at the Biohackers World show. So
Yeah. We
I'm
don't
getting
have it at the show,
couple
I think, but we
products, no?
just
You can
launched the
ship
new
it.
dog bowls, I think,
that's
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
That's cool.
And if they're not launched, they would launch in the next 3 weeks.
That's cool. All
been
right,
working
I'll
on
be
it.
one of your customers. I know there's a massive research done on dogs and why it's so important.
Yes. So, first of all, it's important to obviously verify that really this stuff works. And there was a study done with 30 dogs in Austria, which was very comprehensive. They had 4 different methods that they looked at during this study. It was, I think, a 6-month study with a control group of dogs and then a treated group. And they looked at live blood analysis during that time, the BESA testing method, which is an advanced Decavol method. They had surveys of the pet owners, which is quite important too. But then they had 2 veterinarians that just work with their traditional diagnostics, and they applied that. All of those 4 methods they looked at, and the results were absolutely amazing. 100% of the treated dogs showed significant improvements in their health over that time. And it was actually really remarkable. So that study hasn't been published yet, but I think it will be in the next 2-3 weeks. And it's a really sizable study, actually. So.
And what about humans? Is there a study and research been done?
Yes, we have by now almost over 70 studies done with humans or human cells, both, and over 48 of those placebo-controlled. That means they're blinded, they're randomized, and they rule out the placebo effect, right? That's very, very important, because you can't just do a before and after test and then, maybe someone had the placebo effect. Now, that's a very powerful effect, but still, we wanted to rule it out with those studies. And we have studies in regards to the blood, so it we've been able to prove that our technology is able to reverse stage 1 and stage 2 of blood clotting within minutes. It can reactivate white blood cells. It can decrease the parasitic load in the blood.
Wow.
It helps with the heart rate variability. It improves ATP production by 20 to 29%, which is absolutely massive. ATP production, for the ones that don't know what it is, it's the energy production of the human cells, of the mitochondria. And obviously you need it to live. And for every action you take in life, you need ATP production. So that is massive. Then that was done, by the way, by the University of Tulsa, by Dr. Robert Schief, who's an expert in that field. And he also ran 5 studies that were also randomized and double-blind in regards to wound healing and cell recovery of actual human cells. And it showed almost 50 to 100% acceleration in wound healing.
That's incredible. So just having these blocks sitting in your house, it will do massive changes.
It'll do massive changes, but the 50 to 100% acceleration of wound healing, you achieve that not by being 50 yards away from the block. You would get positive effects still, but if you really need a real boost, you should put your hand inside, for example, because that's where the strongest part of the field is.
For how long will you put your hand there?
People with arthritis, for example, we recommend 10 minutes twice a day or 3 times a day, and then that already has a significant effect.
That's beautiful. Love that. Have you seen cases where people felt noticeable emotional or physical shift from just wearing the necklace?
Yes, we have seen that, and it's been studied, actually. There was a 6-month study done by the Base Institute in Europe where they specifically looked at emotional blockages and thought patterns and patterns that would hold people back and belief systems. And they were able to completely transform those over the 6-month period by working with the capsule. So it's quite powerful. It really does. It works on the energetic, on the consciousness level, right? All of these products do. And we talk a lot about the physical effects, but it all starts really on the energetic.
I'm just thinking right now, my daughter is 10, almost 10, and she is entering that, what do you call them?
The teenager
phase. And now the emotional roller coaster is so huge. And I'm like, maybe I should, and she doesn't want to wear this right now, but maybe I think it would be great for teenagers to wear that to really, kind of control their emotional anxiety or whatever they're going through.
Yeah, it can help them with stability and balance for sure. Yeah, but she doesn't want to wear it. She could put it in her pocket also.
Right. No, I have to somehow. There's always ways to introduce little by little. It takes sometimes time, like 6 months.
Yeah.
You talk about little by little, and then they finally okay, give it to me. But if the kids are older, they'll probably understand, who's 12, 13, 15, they'll get it.
Well, maybe her friends think it's cool when she wears it. If the friends think it's really cool, then maybe she'll like it more.
Can quantum energy be too strong for some people, or does it naturally regulate itself?
Usually it just naturally regulates itself, but there's certainly differences. So if there's someone that is completely unhealthy and has never really been exposed to energy work, and then they put their hands for too long in this block, they get detox effects, or they may feel overwhelmed in regards to the nervous system. It's not really a problem. It's actually a good thing because it shows, what is possible. And naturally that individual would also put the hands out at some point because they would feel like, okay, now I need to, stop having my hands in there. So it's not really that
so it's naturally you'll feel it. Usually, that's how it's.
And then just drink some extra water. In that case.
The water, charge your water and drink that water. How important is intention when working with quantum products? Does someone need to believe for it to work?
You don't have to believe in it at all. That's why we also have those over 48 placebo-controlled studies. So it's completely independent from whether you think it works or not. However, you can certainly amplify the results with also believing in it or setting certain affirmations or intentions, because that in general is a good thing to do for us. And the quantum field can further enhance those, because the so-called placebo effect that can be there in a regular environment can be enhanced significantly with a quantum field. So that's a powerful point, but for it to just work regularly, there's no belief at all needed.
Nice. What kind of feedback or stories have stood out to you from people using your products?
Okay, well, the first thing that always comes to mind is this guy that had knee pain for 6 years, and he was actually in the Telegram group posting it. It's still available. People can still read it today. And he put his knee into the infinity block for 10 minutes, and then his knee pain went away.
Forever?
It's gone.
Wow.
It's gone. He kept doing it for, I think, 2 weeks or so. He kept doing it just to make sure it doesn't come back, but it's been gone. And then the other one was a father that had an autistic child. And they monitored this child every day. And I don't know, someone was giving him ranking notes basically on certain behaviors. And Mondays was always the worst day for this autistic kid. And then he started using the quantum tech, actually the infinity block. And then Monday started only on Mondays. And the kid didn't know, because the kid didn't know what was going on. And then suddenly Mondays were the best days. And he reported that out in the Telegram group. And that was not only heartwarming for us, but it also had a ripple effect, because someone in India who runs a big clinic that is specialized on autistic children and helping them read that post. Then they reached out to us and said, "This is amazing. We would like to run a study in that regard. And could you provide the technology for that?" And then we said, yes, we can. And so they ran a study with 42 autistic kids in India. And they showed that after 6 months, our technology was able to reduce the ATIC score by 20 basis points. The ATIC score measures where on the spectrum the kids are. And by 20 basis points, it was reduced, which is massive.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. Recharging. And, the water tastes different after charging.
Yeah, it's a better water after.
It tastes totally different. Wow, that's cool. I love that. Let's shift a bit and talk about tennis. How did you get back into tennis, and was there something that put you back to it? And I know that you have been winning in 50+ tennis tournaments, which is huge. And would you say, of course, you have a great talent, but do you think the quantum technology helped you to win these tournaments? And how did you use it, if you did?
Well, it 100% helped me a whole lot. I can definitely attest that. And why did I get into that? Because I anyway wanted to play one national tournament. That was the idea when I turned 50. And then I separated from my wife, and I felt the need to put my energy into something more and to do something more that I, didn't do before, and that was tennis. And I played tennis before, but I didn't play tournaments for like 10 years. And then I got back into it, and I was like, okay, I played not just one tournament, I just keep doing this and see maybe I can make it to the top 20. And then I made it to the top 20 way faster than I thought. And then I was, okay, maybe I can do top 10. And then from top 10, I could do top 5. And then already after 6 months, I was number 1 in the US.
That fast?
That was pretty fast, 6 months indeed. And I can say, I did a lot of biohacking applications for sure. But
like what? I want to talk about that too.
Red light sauna in the mornings usually, and then vibration plates, beam minerals, nitric oxide from N101, and then some Wizard Science products as well. And then certainly the quantum technology. That was the biggest thing for
Charging
me to
your
use.
food, your vitamins, everything else, just being around.
Well, and charging myself
yourself,
literally,
yeah.
and using, specific frequencies. We have an Olympic performance frequency, for example, that I would use for every match, literally. And then I had the Heal 360 frequency for recovery, for faster recovery. And it definitely helped. Yes.
What is that Heal 360? So is it something different from?
It's the same one that's in the capsule.
So it's a different capsule or inside the capsule?
No, it's inside the capsule.
Inside
that's the frequency
That's
that's
the
inside the
frequency.
capsule.
Yeah, because there's different. There's pink balls, and mine is little pink balls.
Yeah, those are charged just with quantum energy.
Okay.
And they boost out the frequency so that the frequency is in a larger field.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have a service called Quantum Upgrade. We don't have the time to get into this today. That would be for another podcast. But that's really what I use, because for athletes, you don't necessarily want to wear wearables when you're on the court, right? Because that's a little bit hard.
Okay.
And so with the Quantum Upgrade, I can apply these frequencies and the quantum energy without a wearable.
And
Yes.
what about the tennis ball? I'm just kidding.
I charge my racket, though.
Oh, you charge
my
your racket. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Right before each game?
No, just once. It holds the
Just
energy.
one.
Yeah, and then my tennis shoes and all the clothing. That's an important one, actually. That is
Shoes as well.
Yep. So clothing. Most clothing is toxic and energetically toxic because it supports a disease state in the physical body. So it's not uplifting, it's downlifting us. And you can test it with kinesiology or just feeling, or it's very clear. There's most fabrics actually nowadays, especially the ones that are, for sports, right? They're really not that
they're
good.
polyesters, all that.
Exactly. And those are the ones. If you put them in the block and charge them there, you completely change that vibration, and then you actually have an uplifting t-shirt or shorts that you're wearing. And that is quite powerful if you do that. It doesn't have this like huge bang effect, but it's very subtle and it's very supportive. And obviously in the long run, that is really beneficial.
That's incredible. Do any athletes are using that
Yes.
that you know?
Yes, there's multiple high-level athletes that are using our tech, like Misha Tate, the former world champion in UFC fighting. She's coming back right now to get on the world stage, and she wants to be world champion again. She's using our tech. We have one of the top pole vaulters in the U.S., Carson Waters, several top motocross riders. One of them, Noah Viney, was actually at our booth yesterday and coming to thank us. And
That's so cool.
Then we have, there's several actually that have won Olympic medals. There's Devin Dixon, who is going for the world record in the 800-meter sprint in May and in October.
Wow.
He's using our tech. So there's a bunch of those. And football players in the NFL, some basketball players in the NBA. So there are some.
That's exciting. Wow. What's your strategy if, let's say, things aren't going well in a match? Do you have a reset method or something you really rely on mentally?
Yeah, I try to really not get stuck in the past. And if something didn't go well, I try to really come into the here and now and focus on the next. That's what I'm doing. And there was a study done in Florida at some point where they analyzed the top 20 tennis players in the world and looked what did the top 5 do differently. And what they did differently was exactly that they were talking positive to themselves. And they said, okay, and to be in gratitude. They were grateful to be here. Yes, I will win the next point. I'm better than the other guy. Yes, I can do it. They didn't focus on, oh my God, what a bad shot I just had. That's, when you get stuck and you talk bad to yourself, that's when you stay negative, and that's when you're not going to win.
Right. So it's more mental on the match rather than physical.
Yes.
Because I go to a couple of tennis tournaments, especially BNP one in Palm Springs. It's next to me. And watching the matches, and I see even top players, they get really pissed off. on the court.
Yeah.
And those are the ones sometimes you see they lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes totally sense.
Yeah. And then the energy with the quantum technology that we have, it puts you also into a higher vibration. So you have less the need to be in this negativity. So it pulls you out of that sort of naturally.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to use in my golf. Can I charge my clubs, or what would I charge?
Yeah,
when
you
I'm
can
playing
charge your
golf?
clubs.
Yeah?
For example, you could do
Because I
that.
play tournaments too in my country club.
There you go. Yes, go ahead. Maybe get your golf ball
Golf
charged.
ball.
I don't know if that.
Yeah, because
would help.
I only use one through the game.
But we should talk at some point if you really want to feel an absolutely incredible difference on the court without wearing something. You got to go for the quantum upgrade.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, put it on the world champion frequency.
Yes, love that. And you just released this on your IG. You said you competed, you done it, you got out of your system. And now you are basically retiring from tennis.
Yes. And
maybe for a short period of time till the next.
So I'm thinking maybe when I turn 55, I'll go do it again. And then maybe I'll try to become one of the top 5 players in the world. I've made it to top 11. So 11 was my highest ranking in December in the world, but
congrats.
Maybe I can do top 5.
Yes, you should do it. Why not? You can prove it with your quantum.
Well, so the good thing is I get younger over time and everyone else gets older. So in 4
you
years,
look great, by the way. You look great. You have glowing skin. You have such a beautiful aura about you. And I know you do a Kundalini. You are actually a teacher of Kundalini. I saw on your Instagram you were teaching the other day. Beautiful, little small group of people. And you have such a great postures when you do it. So you definitely shine within the youth. It definitely works what you do. So let's go through your daily routine. So walk me through your biohacking longevity hacks or daily routine that is not negotiable for you.
Yeah, it depends on where I am because I live in Winter Park, Florida and in Costa Rica. And when I'm in Costa Rica, my daily routine in the morning is I get my little dog, Momo, and we go to the beach and we walk at the beach for at least 30 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour or an hour and a half. And that's for me non-negotiable and not for her either. That's the best because you get the sunlight in, you get the natural grounding in. And I do some Kundalini yoga every day. Then not long, but I made it a habit to do at least 15 minutes. Which works for me really well because I like to rather do it every day a little bit than, then forget about it and don't do it at all. In Florida, I use more biohacking tools because I have my red light sauna there. I would do that every morning. I use the vibration plates every morning, and I would also play tennis. In Costa Rica, I also play some tennis nowadays because I found a partner there, but I don't play much with him. So it's maybe once or twice at most a week. I do some surfing in Costa Rica, some ping pong. I like ping pong too. And then in the US, what else? Yeah, I think that's mainly it, in terms of non-negotiables.
Do you take any supplements?
I do take supplements, yeah. I would say there's the nitric oxide and the B minerals is the main
in the morning,
thing.
kind of like really recharge your cardiovascular, your electrolytes in the body. I love that too. I take that too.
Yeah, I really love those. And then
and the food is your main source for your nutrients.
Yeah, I try to eat good food. Really, I'm pretty healthy in general. I drink water. I drink in Costa Rica. I drink a lot of coconut water. Otherwise, I drink water. And then there's another practice. People ask me a lot. Do you meditate on a regular basis? And I used to meditate a lot, but I don't really meditate much anymore in a normal way. I try to just be very present in the moment in my real life.
It's beautiful.
Make this my habit that I realize I'm in this everlasting moment right now and that it's extremely powerful.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's the same for me. Over the years, I've learned to be in the present moment, and I check out throughout the day, meaning I can turn off and on my mental really easy. Like I can shut it off. Like I work, or do, and then boom, like in the middle of the day, I'm like, okay, now it's a break. I'm outside, grounding, having my lunch, just chilling out, looking at the plants, watering plant, whatever, playing with the dogs. That's kind of a checking out. Do the same thing on the sunset, sunrise in the morning. That's my morning routine. Again, 15 minutes for me in the morning, 15 minutes lunch, 15 minutes sunset. I always check out. So I don't meditate anymore. I used to meditate before I had my daughter for almost 1 hour to an hour and a half. And it's not the meditation, usual, normal meditation that people think, because I've worked with so many shamans, Siberian shamans especially, and I've learned the best techniques, how to use your energy. Work with energy from Mother Earth to Father Skies, like collecting, moving, and doing that. And so sometimes I would just go and moving these energies for like an hour and a half. And then when I come back, I'm like, oh my God, that felt so fast. But the time was like an hour and a half, and it was just a beautiful state. And so now these days, I just listen intuitively to my body and check out. So
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a cool. Okay. Do you think quantum energy could eventually be used in schools or public spaces?
100%. Several schools are already using it. We do have schools that either bought it or some they couldn't afford, and they asked if we could provide the technology, so we helped out.
Oh,
and
great.
yeah, it's definitely something that could be something for the future.
That would be so
Hospitals
beautiful.
as well.
Hospitals
Animal
as well.
shelters.
And imagine also like older places or people where like they retire, the older communities. That would be also really cool. What's the one thing you wish people understood about quantum energy?
Well, that we are energy and frequency to begin with. That's what I would wish everyone can understand soon again, because once you do that, you would never forget to take care of your biofield, and you realize that anything you also put out in terms of vibration, ripples through the field and vice versa. So I think the world will be a better place as soon as more people realize that again.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what's next for Lila Quantum? Any big breakthroughs or new directions you're excited about?
Yeah, we're working on eye drops right now that will be launched, and several other products like that are more physical to take in. That's very exciting, and we are very excited about the new pet study that just came out and the pet products that we're currently launching, and it'll be over next month and a half that several new pet products launch. And then new research. There's a lot of very exciting research that's coming. Also some research that will be even published in medical journals. So for us, that's a pretty big deal. And yeah, it'll be taken more mainstream as we go.
I love that. You're expanding and making life so much easier for other people to live, right? If someone could only take away 3 key insights from this conversation, what would you want them to take?
Well, I come with a quote of Nikola Tesla. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That is, for me, the most important one. Realize that you are energy and frequency to begin with. And yes, take care of your biofield, because if you don't, you're really missing out. True holistic healing is also factoring in your biofield.
Thank you so much for coming here, having this impactful conversation. Hopefully, the audience around the world will get this message and start using it in some forms. And I will see you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Philipp, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been amazing to hear about your journey from the corporate world to the quantum energy space, the way you've combined business, healing, and performance, and how Lila Quantum Tech is helping people unlock new levels of health and well-being is truly inspiring. For everyone listening, if you'd like to learn more about Philipp's work or explore Lila Quantum Tech's products, make sure to check out their website and follow them on social media. All the links are in the description below. Don't forget to use my code. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay energized, stay balanced, and remember, wellness is life.